Here with me now is Kevin Matthews. He's from George Mason University. He's an assistant professor of European history, also studied in London for some time. Can they keep kicking the can down the road?
Short answer is no, but Theresa May will try as long as she can. She's going to go back to Brussels. She is going to try to convince her EU counterparts that they have to give her more concessions. They've already said no. The big problem is Ireland. It seems that no one in the Brexit camp bothered to think about Ireland when they proposed Brexit 2 years ago. They didn't talk about it during the referendum. And now they've got to face the fact that if they have Brexit, they might have a hard border between the Republic of Ireland, which is in the in the EU, sorry, and the Northern Ireland, which is in the UK. And no one wants that because that could lead to another round of the troubles that ended in 1998 with the Good Friday Agreement. The Good Friday Agreement was premised on the idea that both countries would always be in the European Union. And what you've got now is frictionless trade between North and South.
You have Jeremy Corbyn saying this is a bad deal for the UK, bad for the economy. Does the deal have to go? Does Theresa May have to go? How do you see this thing sorting out?
Well, the problem right now is that there is simply no majority in Parliament for any deal. There's no majority for a referendum, second referendum. There's certainly no majority for Theresa May's deal. She could have lost by over 200 votes if that vote had gone through tomorrow. That's why she pulled it, because if she had lost, the calls for her to resign would have been overwhelming, I think. So now, like I said, she'll try to go back. She'll try to get more concessions. But the EU has already said this is it. And I don't see how she's got any more cards to play. Theresa May is known for never giving up, and she will try to the end, but she's running out of options.
She doesn't have many cards to play. She did have a very good hand to start with, though, did she? I mean, and she's got a lot of opposition out there.
A whole lot of opposition, and that opposition, like I say, is unable to get rid of her only because they cannot come to an agreed alternative. The problem with the Brexiters is that some want a hard Brexit. In other words, they think that the UK could crash out of the EU, and yes, there'll be some disruption, but then they can create a Malaysian-style or Singapore-style UK off the coast of Europe. I think that's totally fanciful, but they think they can do it. There are other people who would go along with her deal, but I think there's a growing trend in the country that's coming around to the recognition that Brexit was a fantasy all along. And the reason that the Brexiters don't want another referendum is because they're afraid they'll lose it.
If voters knew what they know today, would this have passed?
Well, I guess I'm a bit prejudiced. I don't think it would. I don't think anybody would have opted for this. Brexit has taken up 2 years of time. And for what? It is not delivered what people thought it was going to deliver. And again, you can get all kinds of explanations as to what that would have been. The good news is that the European Court of Justice has said that until March 29th, the UK can step back and say, we want to stay in the EU, we'll go back to the status quo ante, and there'll be no price to pay. If they do crash out, and in a few years decide they want to go back to the EU, that means that all the opt-outs that the UK currently has as in EU membership, all of the special deals that it has, most importantly, the fact that it keeps the pound, that won't be there anymore. And so they'll be in a much weakened position.
So your sense, what is going to happen?
Well, again, I think Theresa May is going to do everything she can to get her deal through with some changes. I don't think that the EU is going to go along with it. Brussels has given her everything that they've got. Quite frankly, I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen. My personal feeling is that a second referendum is the best way to go.
Well, we'll keep our eyes open. One of these scenarios will undoubtedly take place. Kevin, a pleasure to have you in. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.